free. Come together right now over me.
Good evening, everybody. It's the Old Wolf with you here again for another episode of the Witch and the Wolf Wisdom Podcast. It is January 17, 2023. Oh, yes. Mercury retrograde. Couple minutes behind. I do apologize, but hey, yeah, that's what happens sometimes during retrograde. Shit doesn't play out the way that you want, and our encoder just decided to pretend like it wasn't here, and then it magically reappeared. So, hey, gremlins, maybe that's a thing. You never know. Chris Burns, how you doing? Welcome. Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight again. We are coming at you live from Rochester, New York. Starting off the night with the first recorded Broken Past track, a cover of the Beatles' Come Together, but the Godsmack cover of the Beatles' Come Together. Back in the day.
So it's a cover of a cover.
It's a cover of a cover. Listen, again, it was our first real run doing, studio tracking. That track is myself, Tony Rodriguez, my son, the Monkey, and Jim Beck on vocals, who will be appearing on some new music coming up, specifically the track Dirty Secrets, which he and I are working on. I'm really excited about working with him again. And Tony, as well, is working on some stuff with us, as well as, again, as you can see on the screen, Broken Past will be appearing live March 3rd, 2023 at the Stone Pony in Asbury Park, New Jersey. Show is from 7:30 to 11:30 p.m. A couple of the local metal militia bands. I'll be Corvid Corpus, Spawn Ranch, which was at the autism event.
I was gonna say, they were at the autism. They were pretty damn awesome.
Yeah, good guys, really good guys, Spawn Ranch. Black Rose Rebellion as well was at the autism event. Yeah. Another really good group of guys. It's going to be a good night, great night of music. And I also happen to know, and the reason why we're doing this now also too, Broken Past will be debuting a new singer. Unfortunately, Frank Acey is no longer with them. But as with all things, and I think this is true of so many bands over the years, bands evolve. Members will come and go. It doesn't mean that, sometimes it's on bad terms, but a lot of times it's on good terms. Tony and I, my son, Jim, we've all remained friends through the years.
Oh, yeah. Good
and this will be like the fifth incarnation. You know what I mean? But the core dynamic hasn't changed. Tony's at the core. Wayne White, the guitar player, Brian Sager, the drummer, they're still with it. They've been a core dynamic around the scene from the beginning. Great bunch of guys, great musicians. Great guys,
very talented.
Right, very talented. Yeah. So the dynamic, I think, that is Broken Past now is still there. And from the little bit that I know, and again, I'm not going to throw out too many spoilers, but personally, and again, it's no offense, but I'm going to call it, I think this is a better move for Broken Past for Tony and those guys.
I'm excited to see what comes of it. I
am very excited, and I will.
This is a positive direction for the guys, for the group at large, and for the music.
Yes, absolutely. And I'll be playing music from them when it does become released. They'll be working on some stuff. And again, they will be performing March 3rd, 2023 at the Stone Pony. Anybody down in that area and is looking for a good show to go, Stone Pony is an iconic music club there in Asbury Park. Really, if you've never been there, you should go check it out. It's a great place, got a lot of great history, got a great sound. I've played there a few times over the years. I was blessed, different incarnations, played there with Broken Past. And it really was, they're memorable moments, you know what I mean? These are the things that we live for. Yep. So yeah, check them out. Easiest way, and again, I always believe in the simple dynamic, especially when you're talking the local music scene, deal with the bands directly, okay? So if you're going to go and you want tickets, reach out to Tony, okay? Tony's a regular guy, you know what I mean? Again, if he can't talk to you in the moment, he'll be polite and say, hey, I got to get back to you. But you can check him out at brokenpastnewjersey.com. Again, that's www.brokenpastnj If you want to get tickets, you want to check out more of their music, get on the mailing list, any of those things. Again, strength in numbers. Show them some love. You know what I mean? And if you're not into it, if you know somebody else that's into that kind of music, let them know. And again, in the spirit of showing, that love, we talk about this every podcast, and it's something that I do regularly. We talk about the people in our neighborhood, like Bobby and Sherry. Now, granted, they're down in Texas, which, again, is Shiya's, neck of the woods. Don't hold it against her. I know it's hard. Yeah, I had to throw that Texas thing in there.
Yeah, I know.
But Bobby and Sherry, listen, they're incredible. They're beautiful people. They truly have what I believe is what I refer to as real magic. Not only in the dynamic of what they do in regards to moonbeams, but how they approach life, people in general. So, check them out. Moonbeams, you can check them out on Facebook and Instagram. You know what I mean? And if you know Shiya, if you can't find them, reach out to Shiya. Shiya can get you wherever you need to go.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Now we also have our sister Suzanne with Mystical Moons. Same dynamic. Really powerful magic, really caring person. And she gets some really cool shit. You know what I mean? So, within the dynamic of strength of numbers, every week we're like, hey, yeah, check them out. You can see her on Facebook, facebook.com/mysticalmoonslive or www.mysticalmoons.com. And again,
I'll tell you what, their stuff is really awesome. Gotta say.
My sister, Ashley Halt, dream catches with intention.
Oh, have you seen some of the stuff she has been doing lately?
God.
Oh my God.
She's on fire.
She has gotten so super creative. And, it's like if you have a particular thing that you love, like we love the Nightmare Before Christmas. So she made us a Jack and Sally. She's made a goddess.
Oh, they're beautiful too.
A beautiful wolf scene for,
She did the custom autism-themed one for the autism event back in September, which was a huge hit.
And if you have kids that have dream problems, she will custom their favorite anime/cartoon, whatever kind of thing.
Listen, symbolism is powerful.
It's great. It's
Every
amazing.
culture from the beginning of time has used symbolism, and it is reflective of the dynamic that we call magic. So check her out, facebook.com/heartscreations, and that's hearts, HARTS. Dreamcatchers with intention.
Let her know the witch and the wolf sent you.
Wacky, wavy, inflatable arm dreamcatchers.
Yeah, but she will give them 20% off their first order just because
That's right.
they came through one of us.
That's right. Use the witch, barter, sell her into slavery.
I might like that.
We're breaking your soul into little pieces, and we're just going to hand them out like peppermints.
Well, that's a good thing. I'm a witch, and I know how to collect all my soul fragments back. And you know what? If you're doing that, then I can collect all the souls that touch my soul fragments, and then I'm going to be full of souls.
Yep, yeah. And we're all fucked.
It's all part of my greater plan.
Hey, listen, again, all the opinions, expressions, viewpoints, et cetera, are mine and mine alone sometimes, sometimes yours. But again, disclaimers. Most of the stuff we own the rights and the copyright, and the stuff that we don't is public domain, free rights usage. We're going to talk a little bit about that later because I have some really old stuff to share. I'm a huge fan of keeping alive dynamics of our history, especially when it comes to magic and music, which tend to go hand in hand. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. I'm actually going to do my first actual real movie trailer thing because it's a movie I think really should be seen. So if I'm putting it out here, maybe that means something. I don't know. I don't want to come across as, yes, you need to go see it now because the wolf says so. Did I say that out loud?
But they do because you did.
So yeah, we'll get to that later.
Where's that?
I've got some deep case fuckery. I've got some stuff from the Wolfpack submissions. My brother Jonathan says he can only imagine what I'm going to say when his Etsy shop and website go live. Yes, you're absolutely fucking right. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to link it to Pornhub. Because I love you like that.
Oh my God.
It could actually make you a dream catcher based on the Star of Ishtar. Listen,
Yeah,
I'm going to be
absolutely
honest
she
with you. I don't think there's anything that Ashley Hart couldn't do. And again, I don't think I'm going out on a limb on this. I have seen her work now for a couple of years. Okay, she's not just somebody who, showed up last week, rolled into town, like, hey, you want to buy my shit? Ashley's been around
There was somebody
for quite some time.
like
and you've
this-
known her for how long?
I've known her for almost 5 years.
Yeah, so
But
she ain't no newbie.
there is a thing there. Somebody sent her a meme, and she looked at that meme and actually developed a dream catcher based on the meme, and it looked better, I think, in my opinion. That was like all this lightning and the tree of life and like a evil eye in the middle of a double dream catcher. Man, it looked freaking complicated, and she brought it to life, I think, even better than what the meme was showing.
Listen,
in my
again,
opinion.
I am brutally honest, but I believe, again, that expression, art, however you want to frame it, is really reflective of the artist. It is part of what real magic is.
Okay, I love you, Brother Jonathan, and then because I love you, I am going to make a commentary.
Yeah, no, you're going to hold off on that.
I'm gonna hold off
oh,
on
yeah,
that?
because he threw me the curveball,
Okay.
and I'm just kind of just waiting for it to get into the perfect zone, and we're coming to it.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Brother Jonathan decided, as mentioned, to throw the curveball. Quote, well, maybe some single ladies will come to my shop and it'll end this 4-year streak of being single. Trust me, brother, there's a reason you are single. We love you, but, okay, being single has some really good advantages. And we're going to use it as one of our teaching moments of,
oh boy, here comes.
in case you missed it. And DJ's watching with you for a while before bed.
Hey, DJ.
So, Brother DJ, great to see you. Steph, thank you for the warning, because I was going to go deep down the rabbit hole. Maybe I shouldn't.
Maybe.
Was that a sign from I mean, if that wasn't a time thing from the universe, I don't know what is. But because I love DJ, fuck. Yes, right.
We said it.
Dad, Steph, you can hate me. He's old enough now.
He's heard
he can
us
handle
say
it.
the F-bomb a few times.
But, you're his mother, so, yeah, in all absolute seriousness, I will always respect that dynamic. One parent to another. Oh, shit, you said do as you wish? DJ, my brother, man. Hold on, man. We're going for a ride. So, yeah, we're going back to Brother Jonathan. And here's the dynamic, the teaching lesson, in case you missed it. Because this is what's waiting for you on the other side of that coin. So, we're going to start right there. Okay?
Ouch.
That's what's waiting around the corner for you, brother.
Run away.
Okay?
Run away. Oh, my God.
Yes. My boyfriend really has some messed up fetishes. Okay? They bring that kind of baggage with them, man. Okay? And DJ, this is a good lesson for you, too. If you ever see this girl, fucking run. Don't engage.
Nope.
Don't question.
Nope.
When you're far enough away that, you're outside the collateral damage, laugh your fucking ass off. Have at it.
Now, I'll tell you what the actual fuck, Jonathan. You are such a healer that your picker is picking people who are seriously deep down the rabbit hole and need some serious healing.
No. See, this is the problem, brother. Some people see a meth addict, and some people see a $10 blowjob. Okay?
Can you see both?
Well, I suppose.
What are the comments underneath it? I can't read
The comments, are, oh my God, ha ha ha, I snorted.
Uh-huh.
And then the reply to the reply was, so did she. Laugh out loud. Now again, here's the thing. This is what, and I'm just going to call it out with this particular meme, what they got wrong. Most meth addicts don't snort it. They smoke it. All right?
True.
So get your drug culture right. That's all I'm saying. You know what I mean? It really helps within the dynamic. Now, this is somebody's daughter, sister, mother, you know what I mean? And again, in all seriousness, yeah, this is fucked up, but this is the real world, okay? This is the shit that's out of there. And as Shiya was getting to, as a high-functioning empath, okay, you, my friend, attract these dynamics, okay? This is what happens to all of us. We attract the most damaged, the most fucking broken. And that doesn't mean that you shouldn't try and help them. I will advise you as your friend to, of course, obviously avoid the $10 blowjob. Okay.
You never know.
And, you know,
with that.
Listen, drugs are fucked up, drugs are bad, and yeah. But being single is not a bad thing. Okay? It isn't. It's just not.
Okay.
Okay.
I threw that in there.
You had to do it.
I
Yeah.
had to do it. Drugs are bad.
But listen, there's a case to be made that people do try and do come back from it, but they still have the baggage. Okay, everybody deserves that redemption path. Everybody deserves the honest opportunity to come back from these things. But also, again, especially in the framework for young men in today's society and culture,
Okay.
stay single, man. Trust me, okay? You don't want to dance in that pool. You'll know when it's right. And it's something that you want to base off of these crazy dynamics, things like, you know, communication, trust, honesty.
Finding somebody that's working on their own fucking healing.
Yeah. So, you know, again,
yeah.
and and again, simple analogy, you know, we need to, as people, men and women, we need to walk our journeys alone to certain degrees. Okay, it doesn't mean you can't interact. It doesn't mean that you can't have connections and stuff. But the whole dynamic, the whole societal structure of how it is translated that, you know, somehow you're not a man if you're... No, it's bullshit, man.
Our
It's bullshit.
relationships have become so far on the codependent side, it's not even funny. The majority of the relationships out there have some extremely unhealthy codependencies rather than two healed or healing individuals coming together to create a good unit. That's what they call the power couple. That's why we would be considered a power couple. I'm an individual, you're an individual. We both do our own healing and come together to create a more powerful unit together rather than one healed person, one not healed person, two broken people, whatever, that come together and just suck the life out of each other.
Context being what it is.
My rant. That's my rant.
Every situation is different, but you hit on a key point, Jonathan. Sanity. Sanity is important.
Overrated.
Sanity is it's important. It's crucial. You know what I mean? So don't get me wrong. Yeah, it's tough, especially again for empaths to be alone in that dynamic. We tend to gravitate. We need those connections, but they are also our worst enemies. So again, as my brother, you know, I'm just saying, hey,
well, that's
enjoy being single right now.
That's why you say strength in numbers, is because we need those connections. We are, as empaths, never going to get all the connections we need from one person, romantically or otherwise. We need friends. We need different personalities. We need different energies in our lives. You know, the friends, brothers, sisters, family, quote unquote, you know, spiritual family, as well as, you know, your partner could factor in on that. But it's the strength in numbers, and it's the village kind of thing, mentality, where we lift each other up, and that's what helps us.
But we also have to be cognizant of the dynamic. When we are so focused and, you know, really bent on a dynamic, we'll make shitty choices.
Oh, yeah.
We will go places that we should not go.
And we'll justify the hell out of it.
We will put things in places that they should not go. Okay.
Don't put it in her ass. I keep telling you not to.
Okay, that was way... She said it, I didn't. Okay, so FCC, find her, not me.
Hey, thank God we're pirate.
You're going to get me excommunicated. I see it coming. But that's
You've
okay.
already been excommunicated.
No, I meant like from the world in general.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
You're a white male, so it goes without saying.
Ha, 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 ha. So, yeah, she could be cheeky.
Extremely.
But she's my witch and I love her. So, yeah, those are some of the things in case you missed it. Now, I'm going to hit on a couple of current event type of things because I believe they need to be discussed. So we're going to get them out of the way because they're a little heavy And I'll end those segueing into, some of the stuff I'm going to, share from the submissions I've gotten from the emails. And again, please, ideas, whatever you got, send them to us. Let us know.
Look, my idea is if you guys have one of those really embarrassing stories that's fucking hilarious, but you don't really want your name associated with it, email it to the wolf and tell him you want to be anonymous. He'll keep your name out of it. He'll keep you anonymous, but he'll tell your story in a way that will have you rolling just as hard as everybody else.
Or I will try to.
I think you'll succeed. You are the bard. You are
listen again, everybody's taste, everybody looks at things differently, but here we go. And we're going to start off with a little something, and most of you may have already heard about this, but again, I believe it needs to at least be framed. Okay? This is Abby Zwerner, and for those of you who don't know Abby Zwerner was the teacher down in Newport News, Virginia, who was shot by a 6-year-old student. And she was shot quite simply because she instinctively wanted to protect those children and took a bullet at fucking point blank range. Now, a lot of people are framing this from many different elements, but I believe the most important element is the human element. And I'm not going to go segueing off about a 6-year-old child, because I think we all know a 6-year-old child really isn't responsible for their actions. Somebody somewhere, or multiple people somewhere, fucked up. But let's talk about Abby, because Abby did what, in my mind, is the ultimate expression of love, of empathy, in putting one's life in defense of somebody or somebodies who can't. It's the old Knight's Code, defending those who can't defend themselves. And that's what she did. She took a bullet for these children.
Wow.
Okay? Now, for those of you who can't see this, there's a little caption on this picture that there is a GoFundMe. Okay? And it is GoFundMe Hannah Zwerner. ZWERNER. Okay? You can look it up on Google. Okay? I personally, again, support and believe in any dynamic that can be done to help with this situation. Again, it reflects a dynamic of strength in numbers, that sometimes bad things happen to good people. But the story behind it is equally important that we remember and that we frame it. Again, I'm not going to go do the whole fucking gun control ding-a-ling. Guess what? It isn't going to work, okay? Sorry. We have to deal with the dynamics for what it is, what's going wrong between us as parents and our children, okay? Because ultimately, we, the adults, are responsible. Let me say that again for the people in the back row. We, as the adults, are fucking responsible.
Amen.
Okay? And she's a hero, okay? She deserves the support. She deserves the love, all of it. Okay? So guys, instead of, going on fucking OnlyFans and, watching fucking Cash Me Out Bimbo bitch do the hoochie hoo, send those couple of bucks to her fucking GoFundMe, because it might be your kid next time, it might be your sister's kid, it may be your friend's kid. But this is where we need to send a message in taking care of those who really, again, do what needs to be done.
Yep.
So yeah, there's that, in case you missed it. Now, this next one is a little bit more on the sadder end of the scale. But again, as a father, okay, as a human, I believe it needs to be said. Okay, it needs to be documented, and people need to remember. Okay, the gentleman in this picture is a man by the name of Richard Blodgett. He's a single father, Flagstaff, Arizona. Okay, the kid with him is his son Jacob, 9-year-old kid, and the two of them have been living a hard life. Okay, now we make mistakes all the time. None of us are perfect. I will save the judgment aspects for what led to what for a power greater than me, call it whatever you want. It's not my place. What I will say simply is this, and this is the horror of the story, okay? Here's a guy, he's trying to take care of his kid the best way that he can. He's got problems, okay? This is a guy who struggles with health issues, who struggles with addiction issues because of those health issues. And he has managed, even despite the shitty conditions and dynamics that he was dealing with, to take care of his son. Okay? He loved his son, and his son loved him. They were active on social media. They would do things together. So I'm going to read you the AP story verbatim and then discuss a little bit more. So, this is from the Associated Press, Flagstaff, Arizona, the other day. Richard Blodgett, single father, was jailed on a drug charge when a worker from Arizona's Child Welfare Agency delivered the news. His son was brain dead on life support just days after being taken into state custody. Blodgett screamed, cried, and screamed some more. Jacob was his only son, a quote-unquote darn cute, curious 9-year-old who loved remote control cars and video games. Blodgett is now struggling to understand how it happened. A medical examiner listed Jacob's death in late December as natural, with complications from diabetes, a condition he was diagnosed with as a toddler. Specifically type 1 diabetes, which means his body was unable to produce enough insulin to survive. Blodgett said he suspects the Arizona Department of Child Safety failed in its duty to protect his son, either by not monitoring his blood sugar levels or not ensuring that Jacob had enough insulin to prevent a serious, life-threatening complication known as ketoacidosis. And I'm not 100% positive I'm pronouncing that correctly. Neither here nor there. They couldn't keep him alive for 2 weeks. 2 weeks, the father told the Associated Press, on a recent furlough from jail. That's absolutely insane. That was my pride and joy. I'm lost. I'm completely lost. My family is completely lost. The Maricopa County Sheriff's Office is investigating Jacob's death. The office declined a request for an interview with Sheriff Paul Penzoni, citing the ongoing investigation. The Department of Child Safety, no coincidence, also declined to comment specifically on the case, citing confidentiality laws. But spokesperson Darren Duranko said, in general, that foster parents are required to receive training from a medical provider before taking in a child with any medical condition. Duranko did not respond to further inquiries, including whether Jacob's insulin pump was removed and if the boy's regular doctor was consulted about his care. Questions raised by Blodgett and his mother, Cheryl Donges. They said Jacob could not manage the insulin on his own. In the fiscal year that ended last June, about 26 children died while in the agency's custody, including from overdoses, medical conditions, natural and still undetermined causes. In the previous fiscal year, that number was 14. The figures amount to a fatality rate of about 97 per 100,000 children during that period, the most recent for which data is available. The rate is higher than overall deaths of children in Arizona. Nationally, about 55 children die per 100,000 children in the general population of all causes in 2020, similar to Arizona's number. excuse me, Karen Klein, director of child welfare initiatives at the Family Involvement Center in Phoenix, said the death of a child is a concern, especially if it happens under the custody of the state. Rest assured, quote, somebody is going to look into it, and if there is an inkling that the death was a result of negligence or abuse, she said. Jacob and his father had been living at a motel when Blodgett was arrested in December. Blodgett, who already had a drug case pending and had spent time in prison, said was operating a backhoe much of the day and pulled over at a gas station to take a nap. The report from the Show Low Police Department corroborated as much, but officers wrote that they suspected Blodgett not at all as a result of drug use. Authorities ultimately found more than 4,000 fentanyl pills in Blodgett's possession, according to the report. Blodgett was booked into jail in Holbrook and charged with 1 count of drug possession, Navajo County Superior Court documents show. Blodgett told the AP he had been using fentanyl for pain management after he dropped 300 pounds with weight loss surgery. I wasn't getting high, quote unquote. I wasn't abusing them. I was using them to be able to work and provide for my son, Blodgett said. Unfortunately, they are illegal. I can't get around that, but they were stronger than my meds and they were working. Dawn just couldn't make the trip to see Jacob at the hospital from Washington State where she lives because of bad weather. But she asked a friend in Arizona to sit with Jacob, pray with him, and play music for him so he wasn't alone, even if she didn't know she was there. Furloughed from jail, Blodgett arranged for a ride to Phoenix, more than 3 hours away, to see his son unresponsive in a hospital bed. Hospital staff had placed a teddy bear next to the boy and a heart-shaped pendant. Blodgett kept one half and the other half will be cremated with Jacob, Dawn just said. Blodgett took pictures, hugged and kissed his son, and talked to him. The hospital had a memorial for Jacob on December 26th, the day some of his organs were harvested and later donated with Blodgett's blessing, along with a moment of silence. Before the year ended, Blodgett was back in jail. Jacob was alone in the motel room when an officer picked him up and alerted the Department of Child Safety, according to the police report. Blodgett said someone at the motel always checked on his son, whom he called as police confronted him. He told Jacob he got into trouble, and the boy asked if his father was going to be okay, Blodgett said. The two often traveled together in vast expanses of Arizona, taking selfies, stopping at gas stations to get snacks, and playing with Nerf guns. The last time I got to see my son, he was already dead, Blodgett said. So yeah, this is a heavy...
How old was the boy again?
9 years old.
See, I took care of a boy that was around that age who had an insulin pump. And I can tell you, no, at that age, they cannot manage their own insulin. They can assist in the process. They can count carbs and come up and tell you what they're having and learn to portion things out. But they did not, like, Zeke did not know how to do his own bolus.
Listen, I mean, again, and I'm going to go out on a limb here because I trust my instincts, okay, as a single father and having danced with the dance, okay, and knowing people that have gone through similar dynamics, okay. I'm not justifying the framework of his drug addiction, okay, but I do understand the dynamic, and I've seen the dynamic that in his mind he was doing what he had to do to take care of his son. I'm sorry, and this picture was only a couple of weeks before all of this happened. Okay, this looks like a healthy kid, and this looks like a kid with his father trying to just live their fucking lives, okay? Yep. And I'm sorry, okay, again, that anybody has to suffer in the dynamic, but it goes back to the earlier, in case you missed it, that we have to do a better job. We have to have better accountability, okay? This guy was a drug addict and managed to take care of this kid, and this fucking kid goes into, state care, and within, 2 weeks, he's fucking dead, okay? It's ridiculous, okay? I know people that have gotten picked up by the sheriff's office at 3 o'clock in the morning for writing a bad check for $20. Okay, no joke. True story. A $20 bad check at Stop and Shop. Okay, somehow justified the sheriff's department to show up at 3 o'clock in the morning and arrest somebody, but yet somehow we can't protect children from basic dynamics of things, like just making sure they have their fucking insulin. It boggles the imagination that in this day and age, especially within our society, our culture, that we just can't figure out a way to fucking do better. And it's just constantly a never-ending list of victims, of tragedy, of loss and pain. Here's the other side of the coin, okay? This is, unfortunately, where the road leads, okay? Every day out there are stories like this. And the only thing that you can do to some degrees is take humble gratitude that your world hopefully is a little bit better, you know? So my sympathies, my empathy, my condolences. There is no way through this, but again, in case you missed it, yeah, this is what happened out here. This was what somebody's Christmas was, losing their son. So, and again, as a parent, you know, I love my son, so it makes me incredibly grateful. All right, so segue from that. And I know that was a little downbeat, but again, I believe that they deserve that dynamic that, you know, we need to talk about these things. We need to understand what is happening around us. Okay, for whatever the reasons. And again, it's easy to stereotype, be like, oh, you know, he's a fucking drug addict. He had drugs on him. It's his fault. But you know what? Somehow he managed to take care of his son. It doesn't make him any less of a person. It doesn't make him any less of a father. Okay. And in the same analogy, yeah, you know, the collateral damage is real. Yeah, listen, Brother Jonathan, I'm with you. I think we need a much higher standard of accountability for these types of things. Again, I'm sure more horrible details will come out as we move forward. So the next thing I'm going to do, and again, this one was from one of the submissions that I received last week for the Wolfpack. And again, share anything. I'm going to try and address every dynamic that comes through, okay? And you just send it to me, email it to me at wolfmusic.com. It could be music, it could be art, it could be a story, it could be a, hey, this is going on, I don't know what the fuck to do. What do you think? You know, how do you make lasagna? I don't care. Send whatever you want. That's the point. It's about engaging, it's about dynamic. This one was actually really interesting, and I thought it was a really good point. And it's an interesting dynamic because there is, in a lot of ways, a disconnect with our history. And in case you missed it, yesterday was, you know, the day that we celebrate or federally recognize Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King was a civil rights activist back in the 60s who many feel and believe was a prophet of sorts, was a man outside of his time, and a gifted, incredibly gifted speaker. And within that dynamic of that time period in the civil rights movement, Martin Luther spoke in regards to how it is to actually be black in our country in the time period of the 60s. But it wasn't based in a context of hatred or resentment. It was based in a dynamic of hope, okay? That there is a better future, that there is a better way, that we are all brothers and sisters despite the color of our skin. And Alita from Philadelphia said that she had met some people, and, you know, she's in her mid-late 30s. But long story short, they didn't know why Martin Luther King had a federal holiday. They just didn't. And
it's really sad that there, but believe it or not, yes, there is that context.
a lot of people don't. They hear it. They don't make an actual connection. They don't know the I Have a Dream speech about the March on Washington, the significance of it, not only within the framework of the time period culturally, but also in the dynamic of how it has influenced, the path forward in being able to live together, to be able to find a path forward together as people. Hey, JoJo, welcome. And she was simply like, could you put that out there? And, she was very honest. She's like, she doesn't want to come across because, she's black that, somehow, this is not a dynamic. But unfortunately, a lot of people, and in this case, the people in question happened to be white, had no fucking idea. And she was taken back by it. You know what I mean? And rightfully so, I believe. So in the spirit of that, for anybody who's never seen it, never heard it, this is Martin Luther King, his own words from the March on Washington. So we're going to do that, and then we'll come back and we'll talk a little bit more.
I have the pleasure to present to you Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr.
I am happy to join with you today in what will go down in history as the greatest demonstration for freedom in the history of our nation. Five score years ago, a great American in whose symbolic shadow we stand today signed the Emancipation Proclamation. This momentous decree came as a great beacon light of hope to millions of Negro slaves who had been seared in the flames of withering injustice. It came as a joyous daybreak to end the long night of their captivity. But 100 years later, the Negro still is not free. 100 years later, the life of the Negro is still sadly crippled by the manacles of segregation and the chains of discrimination. 100 years later, the Negro lives on a lonely island of poverty. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will they be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that one day, even the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering with the heat of oppression, will be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream. My 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day, down in Alabama with its vicious racists, with its governor having his lips dripping with the words of interposition and nullification. One day right there in Alabama, little black boys and black girls will be able to join hands with little white boys and white girls as sisters and brothers. I have a dream today. One day every valley shall be exalted, and every hill and mountain shall be made low. The rough places will be made plain, and the crooked places will be made straight. And the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together. This is our hope. This is the faith that I go back to the South with. With this faith, we will be able to hew out of the mountain of despair a stone of hope. With this faith, we will be able to transform the jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. With this faith, we will be able to work together, to pray together, to struggle together, to go to jail together, to stand up for freedom together, knowing that we will be free one day. This will be the day when all of God's children will be able to sing with new meaning, my country, tears of thee. Sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride. From every mountainside, let freedom ring. And if America is to be a great nation, this must become true. And so let freedom ring. From the prodigious hilltops of New Hampshire, let freedom ring. From the mighty mountains of New York, let freedom ring. From the heightening Alleghenies of Pennsylvania, let freedom ring. From the snow-capped Rockies of Colorado, let freedom ring. From the curvaceous slopes of California. But not only that, let freedom ring from Stone Mountain of Georgia. Let freedom ring from Lookout Mountain of Tennessee. Let freedom ring from every hill and molehill of Mississippi, from every mountainside. Let freedom ring in windy capitals. When we allow freedom ring, when we let it ring from every village and every hamlet, from every state and every city, we will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual, free at last, free at last, thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
So yes, that was the man himself, his words. Alita, thank you. You were absolutely right. We need to remember our history. We need to keep it alive, because that is the only way that we learn. And it is a simple truth that our past is what sets the stage for our future. So in remembrance of Martin Luther King Jr., his words of peace, it is unfortunate that men of love and insight tend to be gunned down, and that time period, there was a lot of that, unfortunately, but it doesn't make his message any less powerful. So yes, that was one of the Wolfpack submissions. Again, send them. wolf@oldwolfmusic.com. We have a few more that we're going to do.
Jonathan has an excellent point, and as brought up many a time, those who do not study history are doomed to repeat it. If we do not
God, yes, is that not the truth? Yeah.
That we need to have equal seats at the table for everybody and carry on Martin Luther King Jr.'s dream, then we're doomed to have that level of hatred and segregation again in some form or another.
Yes. So, we're going to segue into some of the little odd little things, in case you missed it. Okay. Now, those of you who know me, I periodically like to dig into the memes. I think they're a great representation of the current state of affairs, then they can be quite entertaining and humorous and oftentimes fucked up beyond belief. But in case you missed it, here are a couple. This is another great one, and I've seen this one in many variations. It's the Elmo. And on the left side, it's all those nice fruits. Peer-reviewed articles. Elmo. People who claim to do, quote-unquote, their own research. The large pile of cocaine. Facebook memes that confirm, quote-unquote, what they already believe. And then the bottom panel is Elmo face first. Not unlike fucking
Elmo drunk the Kool-Aid.
fucking Scarface. My name is Tony Montana, you little fucking cockroach. Bang, right into it. So yeah, there is a case to be made. And, you know, we're going to be honest about it. A lot of things get twisted. And just because it's in a fucking meme doesn't necessarily make it true. However, it does make us question. Such as this one. When Jesus keeps sending wildfires, but California keeps having gay butt sex. I think this is great. This, I think, really just kind of throws it out there. Well, you know, if whoever's up there really had a problem with what was going on in San Francisco, but yeah, the wildfires keep coming and people keep fucking each other in the ass.
You know,
I don't know that Jesus would have that personal response per se,
I
but
have to ask a question. How egotistical do we have to be to think that an ultimate divine source of the universe really cares who and how we fuck?
well, as George Carlin was famous for saying, he's all-powerful, all-knowing, all-loving, omnipotent, beginning and the end. He is the... But he's just not really good at handling money, and he needs your money to help build the halls of the kingdom. Yes, yes. And for $19.95, you too can be spiritually guaranteed your place in the hereafter. Yes.
What kind of an ego do we have to have?
Listen, you know.
Whether somebody's having gay butt sex or not.
It's like the Cash Me Outside girl. Now, listen, again, I debated a couple different ways to go about it, and I thought about using imagery, but I'm like, you know what? I don't even want to give her that much. So I found the fucked up variation, okay? Because here, again, not only as a man, but as a parent, I look at this dynamic, okay? And those of you who don't know the story behind the Cash Me Outside, if you can, basically it was just a little fucking teenage bimbo who went on Dr. Phil in this, you know, grandiose, exploitive moment of, oh yeah, you know, I rip off credit cards, I do all this fucked up shit, and so what? I'm gonna get famous, and fuck you all, and what happened? She went out there and got famous, basically spread her legs, went on OnlyFans, and made millions of dollars for basically being the worst example
of a teenager
of humanity that I think, at least I've seen in a long time. Now, granted, again, say what you want. I don't begrudge, I don't have a problem, you know what I mean, in the dynamic that if a woman chooses to go down that path, you know what, so be it. But there has to be this fine line between, you know, are we going to continue to reward fucking this insane, shitty behavior? No. Okay. And to some degrees, yes, I understand men have been fucking things up since the beginning of time. So yeah, you know what? Maybe the scales have to balance some, but that's what I see. Okay. And it's the same thing with all of them. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? And I'm going to be really blunt about this. I have more respect for a woman that goes into a shitty bar and swings on a pole and deals with the raw dynamic of all the fucked up misogynistic male fucking baggage than any of these fucking wannabe porn stars going on OnlyFans and, you know, for $25 a month, you can watch me play with myself. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I got better things to do.
Maybe I'm fucked up, but I don't think so. But, again, that doesn't mean that women shouldn't have the power to. But here's where it becomes really fucked up, in case you missed it. Because now we have these conflicting dynamics. Don't treat me like a piece of meat, but here, pay me money to look at my pussy. Okay?
Well, it's okay.
Is that a contradictory message? Maybe. Now, that doesn't mean just because one bimbo does it that all women should pay the price. But conversely, just because there are a lot of fuckboys out there, the rest of us that have tried to do things right are fucking tired of carrying the weight. I'm just saying.
That's totally fair.
I'm just saying, man. You know what I mean? So we got to call it out. We got to call it out where we say, this Justin Roiland shit, I've seen some of the DMs from it. Listen, if he's a fucking child predator, I don't give a shit how good Rick and Morty is. He's got to fucking go. Okay? That shit is not tolerable. But in the same dynamic, fucking Iggy Azalea just went out there, and she was one of the ones that, I'll never do OnlyFans. I'm not going to degrade myself because my music is just so real and organic. Bullshit. Okay? What did she do? Fucking OnlyFans, if you want to hear her new music, you have to buy the golden pass through her vagina to get to said music.
That's ridiculous. So you can't listen to the music unless you do that?
I don't know. Yeah, I didn't want to look at it beyond that, just in case you missed it. I just really wanted to throw that out there.
That's fucked up, man.
Now, for all you ladies out there who've ever had this moment, or for you guys who've had this moment, is another great meme, little Back to the Future, but the caption basically is crush. And this is the crush speaking, for those of you who are just listening to the podcast audio and don't have the visual pleasures that we put out there. So it starts off, crush, I would have fucked you ages ago, but you didn't make a move. Me. And the caption is, Doc, with the DeLorean time machine, fucking laying treads of fire to go back in time and make said move. Moral of the story, unless you know Doc, or you have a fucking DeLorean capable of time travel, make the move. Okay?
I agree.
Better to be wrong for the right reason.
I would rather turn around and put my feelings out there and say, hey, I really like you. I'd like to see, what we can make of this. And have an honest conversation than to sit there and play fucking games of, does he like me? I don't know if he likes me. We're not in fucking high school anymore, people.
Oh, listen, high school never ends. There's the simple truth.
It needs to.
It evolves into some new Lovecraftian, Cthulhian. I'll do it again. So, yes. But here are a couple of things that are important to put into play. Okay, guys. This is mostly for you because I don't think this will ever apply to a woman. So, guys, this one's for you. This, my brothers, is the clitoris watching you lick a hemorrhoid. Brothers, if you can't tell the difference between the clit and a hemorrhoid,
you're beyond hope.
brother, you need to come out of the dating pool.
Yes.
Pure and simple. Okay? It's not fair to the women. It's not fair to the men. And it is surely not fair to the clitoris. Now, the hemorrhoid's all for it. The hemorrhoid's like, yeah, lick it. But conversely, that's how we discovered artificial flavoring. So who knows? Inquiring minds want to know. So email me your thoughts on that. I don't know. I've never licked a hemorrhoid. Have you? Please share your story. If said so.
No.
I
mentioned the word no
now,
anywhere in that sentence.
Conversely, this one's for you ladies. Okay? And this is a classic fucking meme that's had so many different variations, but this one really, I thought, this is good. And it's just basically the couple laying together, back to back, the woman looking over her shoulder with disdain and scorn, and the man just kind of like, oh shit, when will my prison sentence be over? But again, jokingly enough, here are the captions. Her. He's probably thinking of other girls. Him. She's gonna hit me when she smells that.
You know what?
That's the truth.
It
All right?
really
We're
is.
not thinking about fucking other women. We're thinking about how we can fart on you and get away with it and not get the shit beat out of us in the process. That's what's really happening, ladies.
You're not lying.
That's what's happening. Trust me, if your guy's out fucking other women, you know, he's not laying in bed thinking about it. He's out in the real world doing it. Okay? When we go to bed, we don't think about that shit. That's not how it works.
It's really not.
Okay, it's not. It's not how it works.
I can attest to the fact that they spend long hours planning how to Dutch oven you. I can personally attest to that fact because you finally enacted your master plan to Dutch oven me.
I got her.
You did.
Oh, I got her good.
Oh, he did.
So, yeah. And guys, just, again, flip side. When she smells it, you're going to get hit. That's the price you pay. Take it like a man. Man the fuck up. And ladies, if it's the case too, you can man up too. It's cool. Everybody can identify however the fuck they want. Okay? Just remember, if you dealt it, you own it. All right. So we're going to dance into another of the Wolfpack submissions. And this one, and listen, for whatever this is worth, and I will say this again, you're allowed to be anonymous. So you can just refer to yourself in the third party, the fourth party, the ninth party, whatever the fuck works. I'm totally fine with it.
You can refer to yourself.
So yeah, if you do not want to be mentioned by specific name, that's totally cool. I have no issue with it. So with that, okay, quote unquote, please keep my last name out of the story. But we're going to refer to him as the minister, okay? Now, to start this off, he lets us know that this is one of the milder stories from his many years working for gas station and, you know, within, you know, service related. And, you know, by his own words, he sometimes despises society and hates the public in general.
As do we all.
So, here we go, boys and girls. It was after my 1-year anniversary working for the gas station / convenience store that this story took place. They had recently promoted a newer employee with less experience than me. Big surprise with a corporation, right? And she could be a little more timid with some confrontation at first. Well, today was one of those days where she was a bit more timid and new to her position. It's also on this day that a Karen had decided to come in with her head up her ass. We'll get to more of that part because I got to talk about that part. I've never seen somebody with their head up their ass. But anyway, I digress. She asked for a Views product and wanted the vape cartridge. But sensing she was getting it for someone else, she wasn't sure which one of the three she wanted, and didn't even bother to call or text the person and ask. She ended up picking out the Zero or Soul despite us urging her to get the Alto due to the description her friend gave her, which she gave us. We asked multiple times to be sure the one she picked out was the one she wanted, but she insisted she had the correct one. Here's where it gets interesting. Legally, once the customer has left the store, we are not allowed to exchange or refund tobacco products unless they have somehow expired or are bad. Even then, we need a higher-up's approval. And it's a stupid law passed in the 60s or something due to people putting drugs in cigarettes and then resealing them or something like that. Well, guess who decided to come back?
Hi.
Ding, 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 ding. It was Karen.
Karen!
She came back in, acting as her true nature was, a total and absolute entitled bitch. Demanded we exchange the vape cartridge because we gave her the wrong product. My manager held her ground at first and stated We asked to be sure and informed her we don't even have a way to refund the product in our system. Karen wasn't having it. So due to my manager obviously being overwhelmed and me being a senior, I stepped in. Batman. She should have known I am far less nice than my manager, but I genuinely tried to calm Karen down and help the situation. I explained why we could not exchange or refund the product multiple times, even offering her my glasses schedule for her to come in and talk to her. But she just kept getting louder and more belligerent, repeating the same question, so I just wasted my money over and over, progressively getting louder and louder and meaner and meaner. So I had more than enough of this voice, plus I was starting to fantasize about doing some violent or otherwise mean things to her at this point. Therapy. So I just responded, apparently, is there anything else that I can help you with? Her face turned redder than the work polo I was wearing that day, and her face scrunched up too. I thought she may end up having a stroke, but before I could finish thinking that thought, she huffed and stormed off, slamming out the glass door on the way out. We rolled laughing at how she responded when someone finally got through to her that no means no, and how angry she got at that. Yeah, welcome to service.
Karen!
Okay? This is what happens when you serve under the table, man. Okay? It is what it is.
Yep.
It sucks. You know, again, this whole new dynamic of Karen.
It's not a new dynamic. We just finally have
I think, you know, again,
a name for it. We've had Karens everywhere, always. And they are always like, you know, the rules apply to everybody else but me.
It's entitlement. It's fucking apathy. It's inbreeding. I don't know. Take your pick. Whatever the fuck it is.
All of the above.
But again, in case you missed it, yeah, this is the world we live in. And people who work in the service industry, especially in, you know, the medium, lower ends of the dynamics, gas stations, convenience stores, McDonald's, Dunkin' Donuts, shit like that. Oh, yeah, they just get treated like they are the inferior creatures that Buffy always knew they were, because they don't have that kind of breeding. They don't have these dynamics because I'm special. Yeah, well, we've heard it all before, Karen. Still, yes, you guys get the shit end of the stick, and it sucks. It's not fair. I would humbly suggest, and again, this was always my take on it when I dealt with people, and I've worked in, you know, service industry to different degrees over the years, done a lot of volunteer work, that when you get to that point where those thoughts start popping up, when you start thinking about, you know, crucifying Karen naked with barbed wire, or, you know, like a tribe of baboons gang banging her behind your gas station, you got to reevaluate, okay? It's poison seeping into your soul, okay? And the dynamic is pushing you to that degree. Simplest analogy, walk the fuck away, okay? Yep. That was my take all. You go to a certain point, and when a person becomes belligerent, when a person just simply does not want to hear or deal with it, bye, Felicia.
Yep.
It is.
I had somebody that.
I think the only human thing you can do, because anything else is dancing in the fucking mouth of madness. Because like you, I've had those fantasies. The problem was, there were a few times that those fantasies came very close to encroaching upon reality, and using the Mary Shelley analogy, if I can't express my love, oh, I will express my fucking rage, and I will indulge it, okay? And I had to learn that lesson, okay? And it is an honest one. We are all capable of horrible fucking shit. But we all are also capable, except if you're a Scientologist or a child predator, of beautiful things.
Yep,
I had to footnote that.
No, I get it.
Now I am
I had a situation the other day that you heard me bitch about because I was like, what the fuck even? Where somebody had invited me to a group, and of course, if I'm in a group, I'm going to share my life, I'm going to share whatever, because that's what I do. I had been invited to a group context, and I'm like, okay, I'll share. Well, this person actually posted on one of the posts in the group, stop sharing to my groups. So, of course, if somebody says that, the first thing I do is, okay, not a problem. You invited me to the group. You don't want me to share, just remove me from the group. It's not a problem. And he's like, well, you should have blah, 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 and nobody likes your shit anyway. And I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. And ended up turning around and telling that person, like, hey, have a nice life, walk your path, do your thing. What sound effect?
Oh, that's my blood pressure rising as you tell the story.
Is that what that is? Okay. And then I'm like, okay, well, that's fine. Not a problem. Not going to argue with you. Have a nice life. Goodbye. And that's sometimes all you can do with somebody that's like that. It's just like, I'm not going to fight with you. They're gonna goad you. They're going to poke you. They're going to try to get you to engage in a fight. And it's like, I'm not fighting with stupid because I'm not that stupid.
Now, there was a time, and I'll be the first one to admit it, that the drunken biker in me created the warped Ren and Stimpy version of Batman that was just like, I'm going to rip your arms off and I'm going to beat you with them. That's what I'm going to do. And guess what? I'm going to laugh while I do it. Yeah, that's dangerous territory, man. It really is.
Yep.
Especially, if you throw any type of catalyst like alcohol or drugs.
Oh, yeah, people are more belligerent.
Listen, even fucking sugar and caffeine will fucking trigger you into you go into a fucking full mental murder hobo fucking tweakathon. But yeah, it happens. So thank you for sharing that. If you're out there listening right now, again, we truly appreciate all the submissions, all the love. So this next thing I'm going to do, and I mentioned it earlier, and again, it's the first time that I'm doing this, is a movie trailer for a movie that I think really is incredibly powerful, and I would humbly suggest that people see it. Now, there are a couple dynamics that speak to me personally. One, specifically the context of music and composing and the framework that creates. But also, more importantly, in this story really goes deep into the dynamics of how music and empathy, and sometimes weaponized empathy, can really do damage. And it is the paradox sometimes that great beauty is born of darkness. You know what I mean? Again, it is a paradox, but it is reflective, I think, of the human condition. But again, just in the spirit of, again, sharing different things, I'm throwing it out there. I believe in this movie. It stars Cate Blanchett. I believe she's a really powerful actress. And the dynamics, the story, I think really also speak very well to female empowerment. And a lot of the dynamics, not only within the double standards, but also within how many of these elements, they're not really reflective of sexuality, if we're a man or a woman or in between or whatever. They're, again, reflective of these core emotional dynamics, the stuff that Shiya talks about within empathy, within the aspects of our character, our personality, our hopes, our dreams, our fears, all of it. So without further ado, first time here, and again, this is the beauty of public domain usage, that we can actually do this. We can put this out here, we can talk about it, we can share it. So without further ado, this is the trailer for Tar.
You want to dance the mask, you must service the composer.
If you're here, then you already know who she is. Lydia Tarr is many things. As a conductor, Tarr began her career with the Cleveland Orchestra, Chicago Symphony Orchestra, the Boston Symphony Orchestra, until she at last arrived here at our own New York Philharmonic. In 2013, Berlin elected Tarr as its principal conductor, and she's remained there ever since. Lydia Tarr has also written music for the stage and screen. She is one of only 15 EGOTs, meaning those who have won all 4 major entertainment awards. Thank you for joining us, Maestro.
Thank you.
How's the writing going?
Not so well. I keep hearing something.
Schopenhauer measured a man's intelligence against his sensitivity to noise.
Do you ever find yourself overwhelmed by emotion?
Yes. Yes, that does happen.
We have a problem.
I received another weird email.
There's no reason to get caught up in any intrigue.
I'm worried. She's starting to disappear into herself.
You want to dance the mask, you must service the composer. You gotta supplement yourself, your ego, and yes, your identity.
You must in fact stand in front of the public and God and obliterate yourself.
So yeah, I believe, again, very strongly that art imitates life, life imitates art, and that storytelling is as old as our species. It really is. It's taken many different forms through the ages, but it goes back to that dynamic of understanding where we've come from, where we're going, and why sometimes we feel the way that we do, why certain things we experience are there, why they're even a thing. So, you know, make it of it what you will, but again, I recommend it. It is called Tar. So, dancing ahead, in case you missed it, within the scope of some of these memes I found were some ones that obviously I thought were quite humorous, but also one or two. Oh, Brother Jonathan, you go back. You can go back and watch it. Oh, by the way, I wasn't paying attention to the chat before, so my sisters Diana and Lee, always great to see you. The Assassin Queen, my sister in horror and crime and madness, you were always welcome. And Lee, you and Derek, you know, you are brothers and sisters of the heart. So always great to see you guys, everybody. So here we go. I did not know this is a thing. Okay. And here's the meme. This is large, foreboding figure with the caption, "People who masturbate right after taking a shit." And then the little guy on the bottom is Lucifer. I have no fucking idea of this context. Is this a thing? Did I just like I didn't think, like you and I joke about the whole milquetoast thing. Yeah. Like, I consider myself a well-versed person. I don't consider myself a prude. I'm not a fucking freakazoid. But in the same instance, well, I've never heard of it. And listen, I've seen Japanese puke porn and Brazilian fart fetishes. Who the fuck jerks off right after taking a shit? Or more importantly, who masturbates? Because ladies, this implies this is you. Masturbate is equal opportunity. Jerk off, that's purely masculine. if I do say so myself. So what the fuck is this, man? Who the fuck gets up after taking a shit? How is this even a thing? What has happened?
I do not know. I cannot answer that.
Jonathan's like, German Scheiser videos are losing their potency. Obviously so. Yeah, Shia is baffled. She's like, I have no understanding of this.
No, none.
Now again, in the complete dynamic. Listen, the Tar's just popping back up again. Go away. All right, so we'll get out of that. Here's another one that, I had to double take on it, but I was like, this is fucked up. So here we go. A friend got mad at me for smelling his sister's underwear. I don't know if it was because she was still wearing them or because the rest of the family was there. Either way, it made the rest of the funeral very awkward. And the little pictures below is God in his magnanimous kind of, love and peace, Noah, ? And then it is the heavily pixelated get the boat. So obviously God does not approve, okay? But Jonathan, maybe you can counsel me on this. You're kind of like my Christian go-to guy these days. Did I miss this somewhere in the Old Testament or the New Testament? I don't remember seeing it in the Gospel of Putang or any of that shit. Now, granted, just from a social context, yeah, I'm sure that's got to be really awkward, to kind of, get in there and smell somebody's panties as they're laying in the clay. But did God really counsel on this? I don't know. These are the things I'm curious about.
These are the inquiring moments.
Jonathan says, yeah, he must admit he's gonna, he's gonna check on it and get it back to us. So in case you missed it, smelling underwear at a funeral is a thing. Now this one is a classic, and
all I have to say is, what the fuck is wrong with people?
I don't know. I'm sure everybody's had this particular moment, if not many, particularly in this dynamic, but it's a picture from one of the Mario games, and it's fucking Mario looking in this mirror thing and seeing the sad clown, and the caption is, going back to your toxic ex for the 76th time. Okay.
Yeah.
I know I've looked in the mirror and been like, what the fuck? But I'm curious, did anybody ever look in the mirror and have like the sad clown routine? Because that would have a lot more weight, you know what I mean? If it's just me looking back, it's like, well, I know you know me, we did the same stupid fucking thing, so what? But if that clown was looking back at me in the fucking mirror, yeah, I definitely have a different take. But more importantly, 76 times. I mean, what number can we safely establish?
as having been a reader for 35 years.
What's the cutoff?
There is no cutoff.
Come on, we gotta have a number. Give me a number.
I have seen women who go back, and they come and they get the readings, and they say, should I go back? And I say, no, you shouldn't go back. This is going to happen if you go back. And they're like, okay, I'm not going to go back. And what do? They go back. And then they call me and they're like, how do I save my relationship? And it's like, girl, leave. Run. And
run, Forrest, run.
I love him.
Yeah, again, 76. I mean, I went back many a fucking time, but, well, granted, I didn't keep track either, so who the fuck knows?
It could have been something.
Anyway, so it can't be a party without William Shatner.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And this one, was great. And it's a classic Captain Kirk with his hand in his head. What the fuck, Scotty? What did you fucking do to my ship this time? But here it is. William Shatner has discontinued his new line of ladies' lingerie. Apparently, Shatner Panties wasn't the best choice for a name. All right, yeah, it's a cheap one, okay?
Oh,
it's a cheap one.
Good, man.
But in the spirit of keeping Star Trek and Captain Kirk alive, I'm just like, yeah, no, that's pure fucking genius. Pure fucking genius. Okay, now me personally, and in case you missed it, I don't want porn in my science fiction. If I want porn, I'll go for porn. So please, for the love of God or goddesses or whatever fucking demented squirrel who's controlling the universe, or maybe it's a giant koala. He's smiling. What does he know? Please. We don't need it. We were watching the new Witcher Blood Origin. And of course they had to throw a Game of Thrones fucking... you know what? I'm not watching this to see somebody fucking somebody. You can tell the story without cocks and fucking. I
don't know. I find your narrative hilarious. We were traumatizing the poor monkey earlier because a sex scene came up that was completely gratuitous, unnecessary.
It had no Claymore. Just like...
okay, yeah, they had sex. That was relevant to the story, but the extended sex scene. And so what does the wolf do but literally starts narrating horribly the sex scene? And Monkey's like, shh, will you just stop? Please just stop.
Oh, yeah.
Please,
Just
Dad, just
talking
stop.
too much.
It's bad enough that I have to watch this here in the room. Dad, stop.
Hold on, wait. Uh-oh.
That was great.
Yes. All right. We have a technical problem. Okay. Everybody at home.
Alert, alert. Oh, God.
Hi, I'm an Albanian virus, but because of poor technology in my country, unfortunately, I'm not able to harm your computer. Please be so kind to delete one of your important files yourself and then forward me to the others. Many thanks for your cooperation. Best regards, Albanian virus.
Yay. Okay.
Just saying. Now, again, I have no framework, and in all seriousness, this is not to put the bad juju on the Albanian people, but I'm sorry. I saw this, and I had to fucking laugh. You know what I mean? Because, again, there is certain levels of ridiculous now, again, with the dynamic of technology, or magic, if it may be. But, yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah, listen, sometimes the off-base stuff is the fucking funniest. Like this. Who cannot relate to Samuel Jackson? And the caption simply, how dads look at you when you're acting out. Goddamn right. Okay? That's the I'm gonna kill a motherfucker look. You done fucked up. That's your ass. Especially if fucking like Ezekiel starts getting quoted, it's gone to a very bad, bad place. Now, granted, I wish I could pull off that kind of look. I can't. I can't. But I hope and I dream.
I don't know. You get a pretty incredulous look on your face when you're...
Yeah, listen, I have my moment.
You are able to give the look to people.
And in case you missed it, it was at this moment that he knew he fucked up.
Oh, yeah.
Listen again.
That's when the woman gives you the look.
Who can appreciate a pissed off cat meme?
Poor Grumpy
That's
Cat.
fucking it.
Grumpy Cat's the best, though.
Yes. But yes, and sometimes, yeah. Now, there's also that other moment. That job interview was going so well until I realized I was fucked up on acid in the middle of a cornfield naked and talking to a scarecrow. That was a fan-submitted meme. Said, hey, don't put my name on it because I'm at work and I probably shouldn't have been sending this. But yeah. Sometimes those moments, you think you're here and you're actually naked talking to a fucking scarecrow. Now, me personally, I've never woken up naked talking to a scarecrow. I have woken up naked and
Yes, let's hear the rest of it.
I had fled in absolute
hear
tenor
the
from
rest of this ant.
what was lying next to me. Like, how the fuck did I end up here? Okay. I've woken up with puke on me. I've woken up with my shoe missing, but never naked in a cornfield talking to a scarecrow.
Have you ever really lived?
Have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight?
Actually, yes. I'm a witch. What do you
Well, listen,
think?
again, I've never personally, again, had a job interview that I could equate to that. I've had some job interviews where, maybe it was, a shitty, kind of, like a warm beer.
Yeah.
But again, never
Acid trip.
naked in a cornfield talking to a scarecrow, in case you missed it.
Well, did the scarecrow just start the whole thing off by telling about yourself?
I don't know. I didn't take it that far. You know what I mean? Now, there are a couple little things, and I'm going to play this one. And I mentioned it earlier. One of the beautiful things now that we have access to is content creators and artists and, whatever, again, you want to put your label on.
Been on, yes.
Is this thing called public usage. And it's within the copyright laws. It basically says once a certain time period has elapsed, this stuff now is available for people to pretty much use within certain dynamics. In other words, you can't, try and, bogue it and be like, hey, this is my, but you can use it in a context like what we're doing to have a conversation for historical reference or simply just to fucking laugh.
I like.
So this is one of the things now that is free and available, public usage. It's from 1924. And I'm going to talk over it because guess what? It doesn't have any dialogue because it's a silent movie. And the silent movie in question is Peter Pan. Okay? And this was one of the first versions of Peter Pan. And it's incredible, again, when you think about the elements of special effects and technology and stuff, how far we've come. But the art, the magic, again, of storytelling hasn't changed. All that's changed is the medium on which it's translated, to the degree that we can now create broader, deeper, wider canvases, that we can encompass dynamics of audio. Again, back in the day, silent movies really had no other dynamic than the live interaction. So they had live musicians who would play. And sometimes they would have live people doing these dialogues, not unlike what a Rocky Horror Picture Show is these days. But that's how it worked. And it was magic.
It was the coolest thing ever.
So this is a little piece of archival footage, again, from 1924, from Peter Pan. And, I can't say this enough. There are dynamics within our past, within our history, that we really just can't afford to lose. We lose it, and then we lose who we are. Now, granted, you can make a case for any number of analogies. Every person's a little bit different. I'm not saying that, just because this or that makes you less than. But if we just make that little bit of extra effort, if we just try and be a little bit more open-minded to look at these things and to the best of our ability, again, put ourselves in their shoes. Look at it from their dynamic. So I'm going to share a music track, and then we'll come back. This one, again, is from Deep, 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 and is another one of these old, now public domain music tracks. It's from 1920, and it's from Mamie Smith. Now, as a musician, music, again, especially from the historical context, is all connected. These dynamics became the framework for what became blues, for what became rock and roll, for what became punk, for what became metal, for what became all of it, rap, pop, all ties back to this. Okay, so again, in the spirit of that, I want to share Mamie Smith from 1920. So enjoy, and we'll be right back. So yeah, that was Mamie Smith, 1920. One of the things I've always found fascinating within the dynamic of music, especially old music, this is, again, the very early ages of sound recordings. Everything that was done in this period was done in mono. Basically, it was a single track recording. So there was no, everybody comes in on a different day and does their part 38 different times, and then the engineer comes in and mixes everything down real nice and gets it. No, this was them performing in the moment with a microphone in front of them to record the whole fucking thing. One shot, bomb. And that element to be able to create in my humble opinion, that kind of magic, musically like that, really speaks to talent. Okay. Anybody who's ever seen a live performance knows that, what a song sounds like on an album versus what it sounds like live can be two completely different fucking things. And I apologize if you keep hearing these breaks. Yeah, it's not your connection. It's me. I got the fucking hiccups. Okay. Welcome to live broadcasting. Okay. Yes. Sometimes there's nothing you can do about it.
Other than have more water.
Yeah, no, I make it fucking worse. But yes, this was recorded as a mono track, single track. The 78s that were pressed back in the day were like fucking, disc of death. You could take one of those things, put an edge on it, whip it, and take somebody's fucking head off with them. They were fucking monstrosities, you know what I mean? And, how the etchings are done to actually translate the music, really, again, was a very raw but dynamic process in capturing these elements that, otherwise would be lost to history. Now, you can make a case, and there's some other stuff that I'll do in podcasts down the line, especially within classical amusement arrangements. They're passed down because as compositions, the music has been passed down from symphony to symphony, from conductor to conductor. And they all have their little interpretations, but it's how Mozart and Bach and Beethoven has survived the ages. Since the early 1900s, we've had, again, this beautiful magic known as recording, where we can now listen to that element. We can experience that magic of that moment, 130 some odd, 100 years. The fuck I'm saying, 130. See, I got the hiccups. I can't even fucking think. I'm like, time warp. But yes, I mean, that's incredible, in my opinion. And it's important, I think, to preserve. Because again, these are the dynamics that set the stage for all the music that has come since and will come after that. You look at the music of the 60s, which are, a huge influence for me personally as a musician. That was some of the first music that I was exposed to. Again, they were done on 4-track recordings, the early Beatles stuff and, British and stuff was all just basic 4-track stuff. And it wasn't until you got into the late 60s, early 70s, where, like the Let It Be sessions with the Beatles, George Harrison brought in the first ever 8-track machine. And what it was 2 4-track machines fucking ganked together, but they created their own technology to record their music. George Martin,
cutting edge.
Right. And George Martin was an incredible producer, but he had, up until that point with the Beatles, produced classic music for the BBC and stuff like that. He was a classical musician born within the dynamics of those elements, but he was able to translate that to give the Beatles that extra edge in the recording process to capture their magic.
Yeah, the Beatles were...
And put it out there for the rest of the world to enjoy.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the Beatles were part of the first, people who started doing the experimental sounds on the tracks and multi-layer tracks and things of that nature.
Correct, and it set the stage for a lot of bands, Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, Electric Light Orchestra, and, it has become, dynamics within sampling from, everyone from Eminem to, Jay-Z and everyone in between. You know what I mean? But it is how music is connected, because it is a form of magic, just like electricity has currents, it has frequencies. Now, within that dynamic also, too, and again, one of the elements that is now getting a lot more traction and a lot more exploration is, within things like binaural elements within sleep meditation is one of the things that Shiya and I have been working on and has been releasing some.
Yes, there's a secret hidden one out there today.
Yeah, it's just, a 2-hour variation for people.
Oh, the whale song.
Oh, yeah. Well, for those of you who did check out the whale song meditation, I had to redo it because in the uploading process to YouTube decided to adjust the volume levels, which, again, when you're dealing with elements of megahertz and frequencies, especially in the analogy of Reiki or meditation or binaural sleep elements, they need to have certain levels, not only of volume, but again, of those frequencies, because that's what we respond to instinctively. It's part of our coding, if you will. So those natural frequencies, those natural dynamics, when we can tap into them, they'll act as a catalyst for healing, for inspiration, for all kinds of stuff. And that really, again, is reflective of the power of music.
Yeah.
Okay?
Now, if you guys go on there, I haven't put it out everywhere to post it everywhere, but it is on there public to 8 hours.
Yeah, check us out on YouTube. And listen, like and subscribe. Promise you we're not going to fucking inundate you with all kinds of Nigerian emails or weird shit. But that's how we get it out there. And, for those of you who don't know, we put it out there for free. Okay. Yes. All of the music that we put out there, all of the meditation stuff. The only dynamic that isn't free, okay, and it's really, where Shiya does her teaching and stuff, is the mentorship circle. But the mentorship circle also is tied into the dynamics of the chat readings and, the life coaching and a lot of those dynamics. And, there are a lot of benefits, a lot of extra stuff that Shiya and I both do in regard to that. So, if you're interested, jump over on Facebook, hook up with the witch here. You can reach her at ladyshiya.com. You know what I mean? You can reach her on Facebook. Send me a
message and I will give you a special code for 1 month for free.
Ooh. Now, I know you've got something coming up this Friday. Why don't you tell us what's going on this weekend?
Lunar New Year! Woohoo! Yeah, you think we're done celebrating? Nah,
nope.
We're just getting started. So, there are a lot of people that are like, oh yeah, Lunar New Year. That's an Asian thing. Let me tell you, we are living in a global world now. And, well before this became a Asian celebration of Lunar New Year, cultures the world over who based a lot of their stuff on the moons would celebrate this first moon as the new year. So we are going to celebrate globally for Lunar New Year with the new moon, new magic, prosperity, and, I'll probably find some mochi to eat. Just because, hey, that's a great tradition. I love it.
I got one in Tokyo.
But the whole point is that, we are in a global culture. We can celebrate and honor each other's cultures together. And I'll tell you what, no person I've ever talked to ever who grew up celebrating Lunar New Year ever told me, no, you can't celebrate. Because they're like, oh, you're celebrating.
Listen, the moon is available to everybody. Tap into the magic.
Exactly.
Tap into the energy.
So we're gonna be doing some super prosperity magic. We're gonna go knuck and futz on some money spells.
That'll be Friday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Facebook and YouTube. You'll be back tomorrow night for What the Fuck Wednesday.
What the Fuck Wednesday?
And you've been doing them later, to accommodate for people with different time zones.
But I am going to try to include some daytimes at least once a week. Haven't determined when, where, how, what, but I will be making sure that people who are not night owls like me get some access.
Fair enough. So our final little thing that we're going to do tonight and we're going to close out with, and again, it was from another Wolfpack submission. And this one is from Biker Chick in Pennsylvania. Okay. And she had commented, about how, you know, she hadn't been able to come out when we did the Pocket Full of Wolves things at the autism event, but she's been following the magic. She's been following you. You know, she really likes those dynamics. And she talked about that she really appreciated that I had been putting out dynamics that weren't, as she perfect, that they were real, that they
great.
reflected the dynamics, that, you know, hey, this stuff doesn't start off perfect. But she was like, but we never see you. That's right.
No.
The wolf doesn't do that type of stuff. So she was basically
as much as the witch harasses him about it.
Yeah, well, that's just how I am. I do perform, and we will be performing at some point during this year. We haven't set any dates or anything. We're working new music. But in the spirit of that, Shiya, being the eternal witch that she is, oh, hiccup, Jesus Christ, we was like not end. It was.
That was kind of
I'm going to yak all over myself in a minute.
Please don't do
yes,
that.
I'm going to yak at myself live tonight. Yak!
Oh
yes.
Gosh. No,
but
we should sign up for an OnlyFans first. People probably
I don't even go back there. I don't want to play this game. And I do want to play with you, Pacific. Play that. No. But in the spirit of the last one, basically Biker Chick was like, hey, if you have anything she'd like to see. Shiya, being the eternal witch that she is, at the last practice decided to crack out her, I don't know if it was your phone or was it
my phone.
It was her phone, and
my phone.
She just recorded some of the stuff that we were doing.
Because you're sexy.
So yeah, Biker Chick for you. This is a clip of us working one of the songs that we're having a lot of fun with, and again, as mentioned, this is not the original music stuff. This is just us finding our sea legs, if you will, as musicians with each other.
Yeah.
And there are two elements of this. One is performing, music that we grew up on, that we love, that speaks to us, and also, again, setting the foundation to do other music, original music. So this is part of the process. So yeah, this was a little piece that Shiya caught. It's raw.
I love it.
It's us just, doing our thing, but it's me and Ed back and forth.
Look, it's not fair that I'm the only one that gets to see some of the behind the scenes.
Grumble.
How?
But anyway, so yeah, I'm gonna close out the night. Yeah, this is us performing. Yeah, that's my old ass with that fucking red guitar. Yeah, I fucking hiccup. Like really, I just
out of you.
feel like
scare the hiccups out
feel like a fucking character from South Park. So yeah, we're gonna close out the night with a little piece of a clip from us working a track by Joe Walsh called Rocky Mountain Way. So, Biker Chick, yeah, here you go. Here's a little bit of us actually performing and stuff. Until next time, please know that you're loved. Try not to get the fucking hiccups. And in case you missed it, there's a whole beautiful world out there to explore. So, love each other and know that you are loved. Until next time.